This is Barbara the Barbarian. This is Chapter 2, Part 6. Lasers get shot out of the ship and Danicka gets stabbed. The group pushed on, but they were more cautious in moving. Barbara thought that these women were planning an ambush on a bigger group, but she had no clue if she was anywhere in the ballpark with that assessment. Lena halted the group's movement with an upstretched, clenched fist. Everyone got low. Lena said a few words to Danicka, and Danicka said something to Rhea and Bea. Lena disappeared somewhere. Barbara couldn't track her. Vina urged Barbara to move up slowly. The would-be barbarian nodded and approached the clearing. Barbara was boggled by what she saw. There, in front of her face, was a ship, not the kind that float, but the kind that flew, and not through the sky, but through space. The craft didn't look like the spaceship she was familiar with. It looked more advanced, like something that would show up in a sci-fi show. It was broken and cracked in half. She could tell she was looking at a fraction of the vehicle, and the other half was burrowed in the dirt. The craft must have been there a while because the forest had grown all around it. Barbara backed away quickly and quietly so that she wouldn't ruin any chances of stealth the Amazons had. She had to deal with what she had saw, and she wasn't sure if she wasn't going to lose her shit doing it. Barbara had been fine up until now, though she had no clue why or how she got there. A part of her knew that it was not something she couldn't handle, and that she would find her way back to her own life eventually. With the introduction of a spaceship, she had to think the worst. Was this some sort of fucked up Planet of the Apes situation? Was this Earth in the future, or an alternate timeline, or some such other nonsensical bullshit? It even made sense as to why it felt like the Amazons were speaking some language that closely resembled English, but not really. Barbara began to cry because the hard situation she found herself seemed to be impossible. The fit woman found a small hand touch her. She flinched. It was Vina. The smaller woman looked at her with patience and concern, even though she had no clue what she was crying about. Barbara hugged the smaller woman because she had to. She noticed Bea and Rhea and Danicka looking at her with utter disgust and disdain, as if she were pitiful. Barbara instantly wiped her tears, remembering jailhouse rules. Wasn't no crying in the yard. She nodded to Vina, then waved her hand at the other three dismissively, as if to say it was none of their business. The three Amazon women did not seem as if they would let that gesture go so easily had they not been in the middle of something. But they did, in fact, return to monitoring the ancient crash site. Barbara took a deep breath and tried to deal with whatever this was. She crept back to the edge of the clearing to surmise what was going on. She saw a small fire built by what looked like the broken back door of the ship. Two of the monstrous creatures they had encountered earlier were crouched behind a huge, long dead tree that was downed. They faced the opening as if they were waiting for something, the same way they were. There were two other creatures climbing the misshapen fuselage of the ship as if attempting to find another point of entry through a damaged area. Barbara noticed one of the sickly creatures wearing something that looked like flight goggles. And it finally made sense to her. That's why the other creature had on a flight suit. Maybe they were squatting in this place. Danicka's head went up as if she heard something, though Barbara was unclear what. Danicka spoke with Ray and Bay, and they cocked their bows and leveled it at the creatures that climbed the outside hull of the ship. Danicka spoke to Barbara and Vina. They responded as if to get sneaking positions on the two creatures next to the downed tree. Barbara was not okay with this killing, but at the moment she felt she had to go all in. She had already killed one of these fucked up hill people. Danicka crept up behind the two sickly creatures that were intensely focused on the back of the ruined ship. Despite her size, she was quiet as a whisper. Barbara tried to keep up. She looked over to Vina, and she was in some sort of partial animal transformation. The would-be barbarian had no time to be squeamish at this point. Suddenly, one of the two creatures on top of the ship pointed down towards the Amazons, moving in for the kill. Before it could yell out, 3 arrows hit it in the chest. The other creature on the hull heard the body drop and looked around for his companion. The two on the ground must have heard the body drop as well and stood up. As it did, a blue shard of light hit him in the head. The bolt came from inside the ship. The other creature looked around to see Danicka, Vina, and Barbara behind him. He turned with a knife in his hand, but Danicka used her awesome strength to run him through with her scimitar. The thing didn't die immediately and managed to stab her significantly. The other creature on the hull jumped down and broke for the forest. Vina yelled and her voice rattled the sky. A powerful gust of wind came from her mouth and threw the impaled creature off of Danicka. Barbara's eyes widened, but she ducked instantly when a blue shard of light streaked out of the ship. "Hold your fire, fuck!" she said as she took cover where the creatures were taking cover. "Wait a second, who's down there?" came a female voice from the ship. Barbara smiled because she understood that completely. It's Barbara," she said. "Okay," said the voice from inside. "Well, you fucking asked me," said Barbara. "I guess I did," said the voice as if she had a point. "Look, I don't know what beef you had with these hill people, but they're dead, so you can come out if you want," said Barbara. "Hill people? I've never heard that one," said the voice. Barbara stood up and put her polearm down, propping it on the dead tree. She had her doubts about her safety looking at the sizzling face hole of the monster, but she felt she could talk her way through this, seeing she found someone that understood what she was talking about. Barbara finally found someone she could get some answers from. She felt as if she had to risk it. "Can I come up?" said Barbara. "You can, but you just wait a sec, you're pretty big. Keep your hands where I can see them," said the voice. Barbara knew that wasn't a compliment, but she took it as one. She walked slowly into the ancient ship. Look for the next chapter of Barbara the Barbarian. Like and subscribe.